So I named today's drumming meditation Clearing the Crown Chakra, which is inspired by Diana Lang. Her SoundCloud meditations are wonderful. She also does telephone meditations. So she was describing the white light and how it comes into the crown chakra and then suffuses itself down into the other chakras, energizing all the chakras. 7 major chakras, 49 smaller chakras everywhere in the body. So keeping this channel open seems to be one of the higher functions of the human organism. It's a bioelectrical feed of data and upgrading of the human operating system. That's what's coming through when we are meditating, when we experience trance. Yoga, great music, drumming grooves sometimes. So you can envision the white light coming down. Now, what's unique about drumming is it pulls down the light. It's an attraction. The light likes the drum, likes rhythm. So when the white light comes in through this open channel, which is the crown chakra, then it can move down to the next chakra, which is somewhere, they say, around the pineal gland, in the middle of the head. In the brain, base of the brain. So then you can imagine suffusing that chakra with the white light that's being sent down from the crown chakra through that portal from another dimension, several other dimensions. That's feeding light down into us. So then the energy goes down to the next chakra, which is in the throat. So then we allow that chakra to be suffused with light. Now this, wakes up the local area of its own higher functions. So the voice can speak and sing and do great things. And this energy is allowed to get into this part of our systems. Moving down to the heart chakra, different form of intelligence, but it's rhythmically compatible. It is rhythm. So drumming is a good way to connect to the heart chakra. Seeing the wisdom there. acting upon that. Again, suffusing the heart chakra with the light coming through the crown chakra. Moving down to the next chakra, which is somewhere around above the navel, the belly button. Suffusing that chakra with light. And then there's one below that. We missed the one that was further up, where the solar plexus was. Hey. Anyway. And then down to the root chakra, which is where the drummer really works. And this is where, our foundation energies are born, created. So by playing from the first chakra, you deal with those issues. And you release the anxiety, tension. And allow the energy to be just authentically what it is. It took me a whole lifetime to be able to learn how to play this simply. If you happen to be a guitar player or a horn player, this kind of groove you could play over, improvise over. I view it as a sacred groove, which doesn't rule out improvisation at all. you don't have to. Now, I know a lot of people learn when I start to drum and talk. But don't consider it your invention. Now, I'm going to try to slow this down to 40 beats a minute, because that's the tempo for the drum therapies. For people who are really disconnected to their natural sense of rhythm. Around 40 beats a minute, things become very therapeutic with the drum. I mean, it's therapeutic at every tempo, of course, but I'm just saying this is something interesting. Take a look at it. So I'm guessing that I'm nearing 40 beats a minute. Now, it's interesting to work with people who cannot hold a steady beat. I look at this as rhythmic dislocation. Result of trauma, illness, injury, life. So, by slowing them down, they're able to slowly get over the fear and the distraction that their mind is playing over and over and over. Issues, concerns, unnecessary stuff for this particular moment. So when we slow their system down, because that's what the rhythm does when you slow down, they start to listen to their environment in a different way. So this whole thing of like allowing them to learn how to hit a groove and stay in a groove. Hey. So normally on Sunday afternoon we do drumming workshops in here. Yeah, you're totally invited. There's a flyer up there for it. Today the weather's so nice. I figure everybody's probably like out on the beach or whatever. But we go live to the internet. We stream onto YouTube. Been doing this for 25 years here. So it's like we've probably got people, out around the world checking it out. So right now I'm doing these real slow grooves, just to show people these different tempos, because it's like stress reducing. I mean, we can play and it's fun, and everybody gets going and it's cooking. But then the other stuff, the meditation drumming, I like to promote that. We go here too. But first, I got to get them relaxed. And these drums are from Ghana. The djembes are from Ghana, Africa. And my partner, she's had these great friends, we've had these great friends in Ghana, the master carvers. They bless the trees and they bless the goats, and they cure the wood for 2 years before they, we bring them over here. So they're real special drums. So now this whole thing, I've been a drummer my whole life, but now this therapy drumming, healing drumming, not aggressive, which is cool. It's like, oh, really? So yeah. So people come in for that, So I show them, I'll say, okay, here it is. You find that downbeat, A lot of people don't understand that, just as an anchor note. Everybody agree on that note, we'll be fine. That's probably your groove there. I got to pick it up on your groove maybe a little bit. Maybe a little. Yeah, so those little ones are actually made in Bali, Indonesia. They're not bad, they're starting to get pretty good, The quality has come up a lot. I think that was like $245, something like that. I'm not sure what her price is. I gotta look. There should be prices. Maybe it's 145. Yeah, 145 on that one. See, I'll sell stuff away. It's like, what do I know? So the workshops, I teach basic rhythm structures. Stuff that all different cultures use. They're the building blocks, the triplet and that.
How much it comes for like classes or?
That's the class, the workshop, goes for an hour and a half. That's $20. The drums. If you want to come in for like a private lesson a little bit, that's $1 a minute. Whatever you want to do. Come in for 5-10 minutes, whatever. And I'll show you the basic rhythms. It's kind of like easy, because like people just cruise and go, oh, we'll check it out a little bit in the 5-10. Or the kids, I'll bring the kids in. Make it easy that way. Yeah. But the flyer, what you do with the flyers? Oh, there we go. Yeah. So this is a flyer for the workshop. It's like
Can I take this one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anytime. Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by a possible customer? I was talking about 40 beats a minute. Now, I was raised on a metronome, starting when I was about 8 years old, 9 years old. Aileen Trafford, incredible drum teacher. Her and her brother were like famous drummers in Elkhart, Indiana, which is where so many of the musical instruments were made, still are. But all of her students were top-notch drummers. I was lucky. I got maybe 5 years with her, 5 or 6 years. And I learned the basics, rhythm structure and tempos, how to read. I could read anything. My rudiments were incredible. A lot of medals. Had to sight read really difficult percussion music to a metronome. That's a total stress gig. Reading charts you've never seen before, really hard stuff, and have to be on the metronome. Loved it. But, you know, she was so supportive and calm that it was more like a meditation than it was a stress, you know, test. She was showing the drummer how to stay relaxed, the nuance, you know, of technique. So I went through my life as a drummer. I had other lives too, outside of drumming, but drumming was one of my major lives in this life. And it took the rest of my life to realize that what I had learned from Aileen Trafford was profound and healing. So I decided to focus on how she was teaching, because it worked for me, and I wasn't necessarily gifted as a drummer. I mean, you know, let's be real. So if I can do it, pretty much, I think anybody can do it. But not to compare. See, that's the trick. Don't compare. See, everybody has their own sense of rhythm. It's like a fingerprint. It's unique. So doing the rudiments, growing up, learning how to do drumming rudiments, which are like scales for drummers, chords and scales. When I needed to slow down, I could slow down. I knew how to slow down because I'd learned it. I'd learned it from Aileen Trafford, how to slow down, which was incredibly important. More important than actually keeping the time steady and tempo, in a way. Because when I became a teenager and I ended up in the Deep South, Central Florida, up to central southern Georgia, down around Okeechobee. You ever been to Okeechobee? The largest land lake in the country, full of water moccasins and alligators and mosquitoes, bigger than your fist, and Seminole Indians, Miccosukee Indians. Did I mention the snakes? And the alligators? So, in order to play rhythm and blues, I had to learn how to be late to the downbeat. I had to learn how to be late to the metronome. And when I would get it right, I would get approval. They'd turn around and look at me like I actually existed. The rest of the time, the drummer is usually ignored by the rest of the band. Unless the lead singer wants the drummer to do something, then they'll turn around and look at you. Unsung hero. So I was able to relax the groove, which made it easy for me to work as a drummer. I was constantly experimenting with rhythms to see what they did to the human psyche. It's called jazz, but we were in a rock and roll street theater era, but we had a lot of sophisticated music as well as a solid rhythm and blues. We were too smart for our own britches. But it's fun, really open up a lot of channels of insight about music and rhythm and creativity. So when it finally came in my time in my life to do something positive for a change, as they said at CIA, when they asked me what I was doing, I explained that was this healing phenomenon on the drums. And I wanted to teach it. I wanted to go all around the country, the world, and teach it. And the guy, he sort of like looked at me, and sort of sneered. And he says, yeah. He said, I know other guys when they get to that age, they decide they're going to do something good. But he drummed a little bit. His wife made him. So when you get people down around 40 beats a minute, they can start to sort it out. They can find a downbeat. And it doesn't matter if it's right on, okay? Because what you're doing is you're focusing in on their sense of rhythm that is kind of like very foggy, very diffused. And they can't really feel a pulse. And they're usually really smart. These are people who are really smart. And I jokingly say, the smarter you are, the harder it is to do this. Because the intellectual mind is very well intentioned, but it gets in the way of the body wisdom. So when I cook along at about this tempo, which is more or less 40, 42 beats, now it's kind of picking up. But if I stay at this tempo really consistently, for me, it's like Buddha. I just got to be here, and I just have to show up. I have to do these notes. And in the long run, the world becomes a better place. Don't ask me how. I got my own theories. So the people are so distracted in their extremely brilliant, wonderful minds that they cannot sift through all that noise being generated by their intellect to feel the downbeat. So suddenly they start to filter through the mud and the water becomes clear, and they start to sense the downbeat. It's exciting to witness because they're getting in touch with a higher source. They're getting in touch with themselves. They light up, they smile, and then they get lost and they lose it again. They beat themselves up. I tell them, don't beat yourselves up. And then they come back and they find it again. And then they light up again. Maybe, a little more measured. But it's a moment of enlightenment when they get on the groove. Then after a while, they're on the groove and they don't think anything more about it. It's like, well, of course I'm on a groove. Most people forget they had to get on the groove somewhere. So then once they start going and they can consistently do this, it'll last for a while, but they get distracted again because the intellectual mind is pervasive. It's adamantine. It will insist on being in control. At best, we can make a détente. We can make a partnership. We can make a DMZ between the intellect and the body. So they end up working together, more or less. See, the mind, the intellect has been humbled by something as simple as rhythm. Because the intellectual mind, the modern intellectual mind, has been so disenfranchised from organic rhythm that it does not understand it anymore and it doesn't trust it. It's been so digitized. So we got to get back to this organic grooves that can clear, like I was talking about, clearing the crown chakra. Thank you to Diana Lang. Thank you to my drumming teacher, Aileen Trafford. So the point here, what's interesting, is to get people to be able to play on a groove. Doesn't matter what they play, as long as they're playing on a groove or in a groove. If not, it becomes anarchy and creates illness. So there's pulse, right? Got to have some sort of pulse. If it's going to swing, the girls are going to dance. Well, thanks. Yeah, there's a few different kinds of incense. She's got different kind of incense. There's the Nag Champa stuff, and also the Palo Santo, the little sticks that you burn like sage. That's from Peru. She got some other stuff from India up there too. It's nice because it's. Well, she has different things, she's had this shop 28 years, 29 years. And it's a lot of her friends all over the world. So she gets just unique pieces and stuff. Plus, we do the drumming meditation workshops 3 times a week in here. I'm sorry? What are they like? They're kind of, well, we're supposed to do one today, but everybody's probably at the beach. I show the basic patterns. We sit up in here. We half a dozen people. It's usually not very large. Yeah. And I'll show the basic 4 patterns, the basic 3 patterns, how to improvise a little bit, lay it back so it's not aggressive, relax. So it's one meditation. But it swings. And it's also then you get familiar with those basic rhythm structures and you can play African, play Afro-Cuban, whatever you want to play, you fit in, So I don't teach like technique per se. I could, I'm classically trained, but this works better. There's a flyer for it up there. It's a lot of fun. What? Is it upbeat? Very upbeat. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's $20. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Hour and a half. You get to use the drums, and we go on Sundays. We go at 3:00, and then Tuesday, Friday nights we go at 7.
Very nice. Sundays at 3 and Tuesday and Friday at 7.
Very good. You still have a brain. Yeah, there's a flyer up there. There's a flyer. So it sounds like you would be well suited for this. You can certainly hit a drum right now if you feel like it.
I would be a little self-conscious, but it'd be nice to just be in you,
right? But, right.
I would love to loosen up and try and get some rhythm, but my friends are really.
Yeah, you're busy. Yeah, but later, whenever.
Absolutely.
That's what we've done here. We, 28 years. We've just been sitting in the groove, and people come in and pick it up, just like you.
Okay. I might try. I might come by one day.
Good. Did you get the flyer? You can get a flyer if you want. They're right up there in the front, in that little tin. Hold on, I'll get you one. She doesn't. She puts it. She hides. So I've been recording a symphony that is at 40 beats a minute. A drum symphony. There you have it. And it's all based off this 40 beats a minute. It's a little slower than that. So what fascinates me is when you can settle into certain tempos, they unlock energy portals, interfaces, dimensional interfaces. Just as if you knew the combination to a lock. Because it is a combination to a lock. So the groove then has data embedded in it that's inherently encoded in rhythm. What's the message that's encoded? Could be a lot of different things. I prefer to try to stay into the truth and soul arena of encoded information. You know, it seems like a safe place for me to try to work. And I always got to give propers to the source of this insight. You know, it comes from New Orleans, all right? So we have the open crown chakra now. That's what drumming does. It opens up the crown chakra. Certain kind of drumming. Not just, you know, mindless, insane drumming. Although that does generate some cool stuff too. So what we're doing is we're building a rhythmic vocabulary in our culture for these high energy processes. Psychic house cleaning. I do believe I'm going to dust my broom. So, taking a look at this 40 beats a minute phenomenon, you start to notice there's a lot of music put at 40 beats a minute. There's a lot of permutations too. So when people learn how to find the downbeat, you know, I'm talking about people who don't have any sense of rhythm at all, you know, and I've seen them change. I've seen them change in less than 5 minutes. This approach works. I'm talking about all kinds of people. People who think they're damaged, or people who other people think are damaged, you know. Everybody's a genius in my eyes. Just got to figure out what it is. Me, I was a genius on something that had never been invented yet. So I got to invent it. Aho. So when people like Diana Lang talk about clearing the crown chakra, um, I'm not always sure what that means. How do I do it? So just by supposition, it seems to me that there would be different emotional states to be in that would create this clearing of the crown chakra. So different emotional states go hand in hand with drumming. So I think possibly gratitude is a good emotional context to consider cleansing the crown chakra. Because lately I've been witnessing some amazing conditions in people, you know, and they're asking me to come in and drum with them. Autistic children, and then just regular normal children. And then there's very lucky children. So that's when I drummed with little kids, I said, okay, thank you. You're so lucky looking at these kids, So it's like, thank you for all these blessings, So this attitude of gratitude seems to work for me, I think, to clear the crown chakra. My crown chakra, as anyone's, gets clogged with ego. Okay. It's sort of a phlegmy substance. Kind of gums up the works. But rhythm is a psychic Drano tool. It's a cleanser. And there's the other side of the coin. continuing this process of the live drumming workshops. It's very expensive. This is a store. We're broadcasting from a store on one of the most expensive streets in Los Angeles, 10 blocks from the beach, Santa Monica Bay. 28 years. So we've been broadcasting for probably 15. And developing the healing drum therapies. Right here. We had footage of miraculous events. You know, they've disappeared. So we'll have more, maybe, if we can, continue. What I'd like to do is put in multiple cameras that can switch automatically. I found the little gizmo that does that. It's made by Roland, and it's a very cool little video switcher. You can put 4 cameras, different formats, into it and switch it from camera to camera. That way I could be more educational, better angles so people can get the sequence, because it puts the audio and the video together in sync. So when people view it, they're in sync. So that's a few grand, $3,000. So somebody cough up $3,000. The universe cough up $3,000 for this video switcher. Okay. And then after we do that, I want to have people drumming with us, at least visually, around the world. So, the little window or something where I can get people to appear. I want to be able to figure out how to do that. Now, I used to be in the TV and the film business, for 20 years. I was told gearhead. I like to edit, shoot, do the whole thing. So this is it. This is Hollywood in a cigar box, tiny little space. So we get that technology. And then we have the phenomenon of people drumming with us all over the world, at least all over the United States, which is important. It's very, very, very important, because what we're creating is a consensus of these grooves. And we get enough people hooked into these grooves, things get better. I've just witnessed it. I witnessed it, for most of my life. The drumming, the rhythm, the grooves, the good energy, it helps. It helps the world. It helps us individually. Drummers are lucky. That luck is contagious, and it's good. It's good stuff. Ho. Well, of course, you've heard those stories of how the big ending evolved from Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley when I was their drummer. You had to have a good ending. Didn't matter how bad the band sounded, because sometimes it didn't sound very good. As long as you got a good ending, the audience knows where to clap. And that's all they want. They want to be in the band. So when they get the clap, that's their part. Simple psychology. Chuck, what a master. Thank you.